Welcome to another episode of Core Discussions. As you all know, my name is Legacy. I am the host slash moderator of this great YouTube channel.
And my name's Max. I run the social media accounts, Facebook, Twitter, and go ahead and give us a like and subscribe on YouTube. It will help us channel grow.
I am Bobby D3. Unfortunately, you won't see my pretty face tonight because my computer, camera decided not to work.
I'm Vitamin
Because you
J.
broke your camera.
Yeah, his face broke it.
I'm Hunter/Mountain, and I'm just here.
All right. So today's gonna be a fun one. And with WrestleMania coming up soon, we thought it'd be great time to do some WrestleMania related things. So we're gonna hit you first with our top 5, correct, 5, not 10, 5 WrestleManias we have ever watched. The rules are you have to have watched at least 75% of the WrestleMania. All right. As you guys kind of know how we still went through the same rules. This one was one where we were more, I guess, because we were best friends. There was a lot of groupthink on this one, so I think I had a total of 8 WrestleManias that we did. So
You call it?
You.
You call us best friends? You say we're that close?
or whatever we are, yeah, some guys.
I consider Phil to be a brother.
Oh, good answer. Good answer.
Thank you.
I'm surprised we only had 8 WrestleManias. I thought it'd be more.
I'm
Pretty
not
solid,
surprised,
honestly.
honestly, with the time frame we grew up. I knew we'd
Yeah.
probably be pretty consistent on at least the top 3. I figured to be pretty consistent.
Yeah, because a lot of the first ones we're probably never gonna go back and watch all the way through, or watch a lot of them.
Says you.
Now, if you, I'm sorry, I'm gonna tell you, there's several of them I'm just not watching.
I mean,
75% of them.
I've seen all of them. So, but
And I think also with just our age, like you said, there is something to maybe the whole nostalgia of us growing during that period and seeing them live, rather than going back. There's kind of more excitement. But let's get into this. All right. So, number 5 coming in with 7 points. These are going to be slightly lower because remember, 5 points is the highest you could get. 1 is because I looked, I was like, man, it's not a lot of points. It's like, oh yeah, not a lot of points. All right, this one is is going to be a more recent one. It came in D3, and myself put this at 5th. The Mountain, Max put this at 4th. And Vitamin J put this at 3rd. It had some explosive matches. It had probably one of the biggest shock in WrestleMania history. It is WrestleMania 30. Just to give you guys some clarity, this was the night that Daniel Bryan had 2 matches where he beat Triple H with Stephanie McMahon ringside to get into the World Heavyweight Championship, WWE World Heavyweight Championship, then went on in a triple threat match to beat Batista and Randy Orton for the title. This was the epic moment where the streak was finally ended, which none of us saw. You had Cena versus Bray Wyatt in a singles match. Cesaro in the first ever Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, Cesaro won.
Cesario.
I'm glad we got that on
As
tape.
well as the Shield versus Kane and the defeating the New Age Outlaws. So early Shield days.
squash match.
And a Fatal 4 elimination tag, which we saw the Usos, Hunter's favorite, winning and retaining their championship, as well as the Vicky Guerrero Invitational for the WWE Divas Championship. So let's get into it. Why did we like this so much? Vitamin J, you put this at the highest.
The whole storyline with Daniel Bryan's one of the better storylines they've done in recent memory, like besides like probably the Tribal Chief stuff now. But just the whole thing of him, the storyline of him continuously getting knocked down by the Authority and then you know facing pretty much all of the active members of Evolution in one night and beating them. His match with Triple H was probably one of the better opening matches in WrestleMania history.
I'm
Mhm.
That
surprised
was a
Jay,
good
you
match.
put it
Very good
on there
match.
because your boy Undertaker lost.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Now,
I'm
Jacob, you would put that as the
surprised.
best opening match over Owen Hart, Bret Hart?
I don't know. It's that like if I had to rank best opening matches, that would probably be 1, 2. I don't know where to put one yet. They're both really good. I'm sure there's another one that I'm not thinking of that I can probably put up there too.
But this had the best opening, if not the most iconic opening, because this was Hulk Hogan, Stone
That's
Cold,
dope.
and The
Yeah.
Rock all coming out.
Yeah,
We
what a
all
great
That was
remember
moment.
pretty. That was pretty
Hulk
cool.
Hogan kept calling the Superdome the Silver
Yeah,
Dome, and
yeah,
then
because
The
that's where he
Rock
beat.
and
That's where he beat Andre, wasn't it? The Silver Dome.
Yeah.
and they
Yeah,
kept making The Rock and Stone Cold both made fun of him about it, which was pretty
Yeah,
like
You
the
exactly.
definitely
Y'all leave my man alone. Leave my
you
man
definitely
alone.
won't see that much star power in a ring again. Pretty
yeah.
much.
like
I was
probably
like, you,
three
no,
of the
go.
5 biggest wrestlers of all time.
Yeah, I'm like you got the pretty much kind of like the trinity of wrestling right there. WWE wrestling all right there together.
But say when looking back on this, I'm actually surprised that the Undertaker Lesnar match was the longest because I just remember he
hmm
got concussed.
Very
It must have
early.
happened much late. Yeah, I thought it was early in the match.
It
I'm
was.
shocked it went for 25 minutes.
I think they were stalled. I don't know. Like I mean, obviously they won't tell what everything that happened, but I think they were probably stalled a bit because I guess when Undertaker first got hurt, they stalled for a little bit just to see if he would like get back into it. But obviously, as the match went
My man.
on, Undertaker
My
was
man was
not
not there.
there. Undertaker was gone. Especially
The
since
lights were
right
gone.
after the match, he collapsed backstage and had to go to the hospital. Vince McMahon
I
left
mean,
while
it speaks
WrestleMania
to
was going.
speaks to the strength of Brock Lesnar having to literally carry the match. I mean,
Yeah. And people say Brock Lesnar's not a good
Well,
wrestler. I mean, the match isn't like well remembered. It's the moment that's
Yeah,
remembered, but
it's
still.
hard to
yeah,
wrestle a man. It's hard
Yeah.
to wrestle a 6'10" man who is who is essentially drunk at the wheel there.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's more just a
Well,
second champion.
I will also give Undertaker probably this is just muscle memory because there was a couple times he still had to do his tombstone and a couple other things where he had to pick up Lesnar and he must have been just straight muscle memory doing it so long it just kind of clicked in.
Well, I
It
think
kicked
there,
in.
I think there was a spot. I think Lesnar asked something about like, "Are you there, big man?" or something like that, and Undertaker was like, "No," I can't, something like
Yeah.
that. Something
That's
happened, and so
Yeah, but while this match wasn't great, it's not one you're going to rewatch over and over again. But the last few minutes you'll probably watch again and again because it created one of the biggest moments in wrestling history.
yeah.
You may or
Memes
may not
too.
like it. You may or may not agree with them ending the streak, but you cannot deny that it would be a moment that everyone will remember forever, especially if you watched it live or on pay per view
Mhm.
I think if you want
while
those
it
like
happened.
meme-worthy wrestling moments from the fan reaction, you got that guy's jaw just drop.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
even my reaction, I was like, "Ooh!"
No, just
That was
all of
crazy.
us were like, wait, did that really happen? Did he just hit three? Like, that really just happened? We were just all flabbergasted of like, that really
I just
happened.
love
Okay.
I love Lesnar's like smug face
Yeah.
at the end of it.
Um,
Well, don't you
uh,
remember the internet? Lesnar went into business for himself.
Oh, yeah.
I was so
yeah.
upset. I was highly upset.
I know you were.
I will go with Vitamin J also with how they built Daniel Bryan during this time. Granted, look, I wasn't ever really the biggest D. Bry fan, but I felt they did great with the storyline of building him because that was the fans. The fans really wanted
Yeah.
the whole underdog story, and he was being heavily pushed. And I know some people are upset he didn't win the Royal Rumble, but I felt the fact he didn't win the Royal Rumble also helped his cause because everybody was upset Batista was, and you didn't give the fans what they wanted.
Yeah.
If you all get where I'm going with that.
Another good.
Another match.
Oh,
Yeah,
go ahead.
ahead.
No, I was gonna say another
Well,
good feud slash video package was the Bray Wyatt
yeah,
and John Cena.
yeah.
Mhm.
The legacy video
Yeah.
package was superb.
Now I think Wyatt should have won, but I mean it was good. It was
Won.
still a good match. It was still a really good match.
I I do as well. I'll say people say what you want about WWE, but when they want to do a video package, they are top notch. You can't beat their video packages.
Yeah, you can't. No, the production packages is great. Even the Battle Royal was really good because you had that moment where Cesaro straight like picks up Big Show and just tips him over. So that was
Yeah.
really impressive.
Follow up to that wasn't great, but
No. WWE a lot of times the follow up is never great, but
'Cause I remember all of you guys saying, "Oh man, they're about to push Cesaro to the moon."
that's what we thought as
After that.
well after the Dolph Ziggler 2014 Survivor Series, and
Yeah.
obviously they they straight up they said nope.
Yeah, you think so, huh? Nah, we're good. All right, so we're gonna go to our next WrestleMania. So this one came in fourth place with 9 points. It was voted on by myself and Max. Both put it at number 3, and Mountain put it at fifth, and D3 put it at fourth. This is again a very interesting one. Um, it featured the likes of one of the biggest faces. Kind of finally, I felt this was the moment they became the face of the company, with John Cena beating JBL, as well as the great match of Batista versus Triple H. It is WrestleMania 21. With those two matches, Kurt Angle beating Shawn Michaels,
Mm-hmm.
as well as Undertaker defeating Randy Orton during the time of the Legend Killer gimmick, Rey Mysterio beating Eddie Guerrero, Edge winning the Money in the Bank. I believe this was the first ever Money in the Bank
Yep.
ladder match. Yep. And uh, 30 they did a 30-man inter-promotional battle royal, which Booker T won,
Yeah.
eliminating lovely Chris Masters, Trish Stratus versus beating Christy Hemme, and Akabono defeating the Big Show in a sumo match.
And that just shows you what they thought of women's wrestling at the time with Christy Hemme headlining at WrestleMania
Yeah,
with Trish Stratus.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go, WrestleMania 21. Max, I'll let you start it off because you and I had the highest.
I mean, the reason I picked this because you had a lot of just good matches from top to bottom. Really, I mean, besides the Akebono thing and the women's championship match, pretty much everything in here was pretty solid. And it also, with John Cena defeating JBL, it kind of pushed him to where he was going to go to be the next mega superstar in WWE. And Batista also helped push him to kind of put in that new wave of talent. And also, even if Randy Orton loses to The Undertaker, that was a really good match in which Randy Orton almost won, and he looked really good in it in defeat. So this pay-per-view did a really good job of kind of pushing the next generation of stars. And then, of course, the Kurt Angle Shawn Michaels match is one of the best matches you're ever going to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, you might be seeing that on a certain top 10
Another
list.
list. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's why I'm not talking too much about it because I'm certain we'll talk about it in our other episode we're going to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one has a special place in my heart because this was the year I got back into wrestling. So, and especially with Cena being my second favorite wrestler of all time at this current moment. Um, I think, yeah, that and you had just two stars ascending at that point and really just making their own names. And I felt classic wise, like just the entertainment value, like even Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero was still a good match as well. So
Yeah, and that
all
match
around, I
led
think.
to Eddie turning heel, and he had a great heel run right before he
Yeah.
unfortunately passed. That was the start of that. That was a really good match as
I
well.
mean,
That's
just look at the
another great
star
opening.
power. Just star
Yeah.
power on this card too.
And
I
I
mean,
felt there were two torches that were passed with John Cena and Batista at the same
Yeah,
moment.
and that's so rare
That's
that you
great.
see that where two stars were made in one night, and the whole storyline of Batista and Triple H was so well done
Mm-hmm.
with the whole evolution and Batista bombing Triple H through the table when he did the thumbs up, thumbs down with the contract.
Mm-hmm.
That's such an iconic. That's one of the best contract signings WWE's ever done.
And it's like one of the rare like instances where like so let's say you have like at least I can think of, we have like a faction and then you have an underling from that faction ascend to the top and actually like get really popular. There's not many times where that actually happens.
And it happened to both guys.
Yeah, it happened to Orton and Batista, so really good job. And then John Cena obviously beating JBL because John Cena was insanely popular at that time.
Oh yeah, that was the moment. Oh yeah, it was
They
great.
did such a good
Good
job of like
WrestleMania,
presenting because
and also
everyone
that one
wanted to.
took place. That was Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
It was
Yes.
LA where it took place because I remember even the promos they did all like the
Oh
movie
yeah,
quotes
I hope they
and
bring
for the
they're
promos and
yeah
they
they're
used to
going
do
back.
those. Those were good.
They're going back to LA, I think, in sometime soon. I hope they do those again.
Mm.
WrestleMania goes Hollywood packages are pretty funny.
Hmm.
And then the first Money in the Bank, that match was really good. With Edge winning, and then he had a great cash in later on against Cena, so that was good. And then yeah, Randy Orton's Legend Killer run was really good. And then I,
I think
from
him and also Randy and Undertaker
yeah.
that whole storyline that was interesting
Well, and
from
then
a
the
standpoint.
feud continued after that, and it was
Yeah.
it was a lot good. It was very good too with with Randy Orton crashing Eddie's lowrider with the Undertaker, and and then yeah, it was a good run. I believe from what people have said, they said originally Orton was going to win, but then obviously a lot of times as what they do, they're like, nah, let's just
I think
people
Orton
didn't.
refused.
Orton refused, kind of like Undertaker wanted to lose to Kane both times, but Kane refused. So
I think Undertaker also wanted Edge to beat him, and Edge said no.
yeah, seems like everybody. They got the Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar's like, yep.
I'll take it.
Yeah, because Lesnar wouldn't allow it to keep going.
Undertaker was probably bluffing, and Brock's like, yeah, I'll do it. He's like, oh.
He's like, nah, I got you.
Oh,
Oh,
well,
serious.
okay.
They're probably waiting for Lesnar to refuse. Like, Lesnar, you're going to say no, right? He's like, I know, I'm beating him. I'm pinning him.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds. Yeah, I'm totally on brand.
Okay,
Yeah, it works.
clean the
How
sheet,
much you
clean the
paying me
sheet.
again?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Works. It works. No, it's great. All right. All right. The next WrestleMania we're gonna go into is gonna be coming in with 10 points. This one was voted on by both uh, Vitamin J and D3. Put this in their number 2 spot, and the Mountain put this at his 4th spot. It's actually close to the other one. In fact, it was just the year before WrestleMania 20. The main event was Chris Benoit beating Triple H and Shawn Michaels by submission in a triple threat match. Taker with Paul Bearer beating Kane. This was also Undertaker coming back after a wild stint. This is the return. This was the return of the Dead Man, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
This was the return of the Dead Man. Guerrero defeating Kurt Angle with quite the creativity as well. Too Cool beating a four-way tag match. And Goldberg beating Brock Lesnar with Stone Cold Steve Austin special guest referee. Chavo winning the cruiserweight. Yeah, Tori and Sable beating Miss Jackie and Stacy Keibler. Evolution beating the Rock and Sock Connection. Christian beating Jericho. And Booker T and RVD retaining the tag team championships, as well as John Cena beating Big Show for the WWE United States belt.
Yeah, I mean, this match was, or not this match, but this card was pretty much carried by the top people at the time. Like, I mean, the two title matches were really good. With Eddie Guerrero defeating Kurt Angle, one of the most creative ways to finish a match with him, untying his shoe or his boot, and then pinning Kurt Angle, and then everybody lost their minds for the return of Dead Man Undertaker instead of the American ABA Undertaker. And then Chris Benoit / Stevie Richards defeating Triple H and Shawn Michaels was really good. Well done.
Some people don't know. Whenever some wrestler, you don't want to talk about them, they get replaced with Steven Richards.
Yeah. No,
We
yeah,
don't
no, they
know.
did a
We don't
really
know when
good
it started.
job with Chris Benoit, and then his title reign wasn't the best because then they realized Chris Benoit isn't like he can't really cut a promo, so his reign was alright. I mean, he had another rematch with Triple H, Shawn Michaels. That was really good. And then, unfortunately for them, for Goldberg and Brock Lesnar, everybody hated their match because everybody knew they were leaving. But it's all right because a lot of years later they had another match at WrestleMania and it was really good.
Wrong man won, but whatever.
Yeah, I agree.
And,
Hater. Hater.
and guys, I think it's important to note that we should also state we do not condone what Chris Benoit did.
Well, I don't think that needs to be said. I think everybody can agree with
Because
that.
But sometimes we need to say it.
we're talking about how good his match was. Some people are like, oh, you support this guy.
I mean, it's a good match.
we
I
do
mean, what
not
do you
support
want?
Yeah, it's good. It's a good match.
My favorite match was the Eddie Guerrero Kurt Angle match.
I would probably put the main event as my favorite of the two, but I mean you can't go wrong with either one. They're both really good. WWE this
I
few
thought the
year
Torrie
stretch.
Wilson match was the best.
Oh hush. This stretch for WWE, like they could not miss with their main events. Like besides maybe what was it, 18 with Jericho Triple H was probably the weaker one, but that's about it.
The run WWE had of WrestleMania from like WrestleMania 17 to 21 was like the best stretch they've had. I don't think they've had a 4 or 5 year stretch that's better than that.
And then the weeks leading up to the Undertaker Kane match of like the Undertaker teasing Kane while like the Gong and like the Druids was really well done. That was another one where the video package was very good.
Oh my gosh, that was a great one. Because I was in the Undertaker DVD. I
Hmm.
remember watching that. That was very well done.
And then another one that
Um,
kind of confused me. Like I know they wanted like to put Evolution over, but I was really confused as to I still today like how do you have Mick Foley and The Rock lose to Evolution coming against The Rock. So it's just so odd that The Rock came back for a handicap match and lost it.
That's very true. But it's funny also because if you look at it, this Evolution still had Randy Orton, Batista, Ric Flair, and in a year
Hmm.
from then, both
Yeah.
Randy Orton and Batista would be
Hmm.
separating from that group. So
Yeah.
that's kind of interesting. They had a heck of a year from WrestleMania to WrestleMania
Yeah,
of
and this.
Randy Orton and Batista solidifying themselves.
Yeah, I mean, this was year Randy Orton's also feuding with Mick Foley, so he had definitely. I mean, that was a great feud too. So, and then you had the visual spectacle of John Cena picking up the Big Show for the AA and then pinning him for the United States belt. This like, I mean, he was really popular at the time too, but this was like kind of helped put him even on a higher pedestal with Stardom. Like he probably they knew that he was going to be a future champion at this point.
Oh yeah, with John, yeah, still coming out with Thugonomics.
Yep.
My one criticism was, and I know this show said it, I felt John Cena when he switched My Time Is Now, he debuted that song too early. He should have debuted it at WrestleMania. He debuted it like 3 weeks before WrestleMania, and it never made sense to me why he debuted it so early. Small criticism, but So it's kind of bugged me. I just was like, didn't really make sense. Should have kept with Dr. Thumbnails till WrestleMania and then showed that. But it still works. Still works.